Right. Hey, everybody. I'm here with Omar Serrato, who just got out off of his other live stream about the same same topic. What was that noise?
Oh, it was a. I got my MJ. I got my MJ.
Your soundboard. Somebody says, "Are your hiccups gone, Lauren?" Yes. So I guess the timing kind of worked out well. It is about midnight Eastern here, and I had the hiccups when we were supposed to start. So I was like, maybe it's fine that he's late because otherwise, we've been there before. I think where I had the hiccups the whole time. It was either you or Patrick, and I was just like a mess. But I'm good now. Anyways. We're going to talk about this fee motion from Blake Lively. The judge awarded her attorney's fees and costs related to defending the defamation counterclaim by Justin Baldoni. She is trying to recover fees, it sounds like to me, and you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, for the entire consolidated action defending against all that. So, what was your, I guess if you had to put it into like a short summary of how you feel about what you just read, what was your thought about that?
Actually highlighted the whole sentence. I'll throw it up for you.
Okay.
I don't even know how to do that.
Well, put up your
if I share my
I'll be able to put it up.
Oh, I think I had to do like that.
Hey Sarah, what's up?
Yeah. There it is. So look, I did a whole Bill Clinton analysis of this. Where they say that, this was the sentence. So they shall be entitled to their reasonable attorney fees and costs for successfully defending themselves in the litigation. So there's a couple of things. Number one, the word defending is limiting because they were necessarily an offense, and then they were defending against a countersuit for defamation. And so defending themselves to the extent that they were defending themselves against a countersuit is limiting and should not ever be interpreted as all-encompassing, applying to all of the litigation, including her failed 13 causes of action against the Wayfair parties. The other word is the litigation means the specific litigation. That's the specific cause of action. If I'm interpreting that specifically means to me defending against the defamation claim or countersuit in this litigation, not the entire thing the way they're trying to make it out to be. And so that's what kind of got me hot this evening when I was on my channel. Yeah. Railing on about that. I probably sounded like a lunatic as you jumped in my.
I wouldn't say I would characterize it that way. No. But if that's how it made you feel, I understand.
It was just so appalling. Just the way that they write. I've had a break from them for like a couple of months now, and it felt so good to just be away.
Oh, yeah. No, I know what you mean. But the thing is, I really, after that last hearing, I was just like, I don't want to hear any more about this woman. I just want this to be over. When the judge's ruling comes out, I will cover it, and that's it. And so the judge's ruling came out, and you and I did a stream on that, and it was a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. And it happened to be when I was in Australia. And so it was very, very early in the morning, like almost middle of the night for me. And we streamed on that and went over it. And I was planning on going swimming at Coogee Beach that day. And you might have heard, you might remember this story because I probably told you a little bit about it. But I was planning on swimming at Coogee Beach that morning when I got up. But then I was like, I saw that tweet from Zach Peter in the middle of the night. And I was like, hey, Omar, do you want to stream on this? So I was really tired. I was like, I'm going to go to sleep for a little bit and then I'll go down to the beach. And so after I go back to sleep after that stream, I wake up and there's sirens everywhere. There's chaos on the beach. The water is closed. You cannot go in there. And apparently a shark just brutally attacked a woman right down there where I was about to go swimming. And I don't usually go swimming in the ocean, but the ocean there was so clear and beautiful. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go give it a chance. And my friend Tina and I had been texting about how I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it today. I'm going to go in the water because I'm deathly scared of the ocean, but I decided to do it. And then because you and I streamed so early that morning, I did not go in the water at the time the shark attacked a lady. So that was a really bizarre coincidence. So, there's been lots of strange collateral paths in this lawsuit and my coverage of it, including Subpoena Gate or whatever. But that was probably one of the more bizarre things that happened. And it was just a couple weeks ago. So just if anyone was wondering
that I have saved your life.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely.
I think
I think technically Judge Lyman would have then saved my life. I don't know. Right?
I don't know, either or. Lots up to interpretation, but I'm going to go with
probably like I've seen this lady in my courtroom twice. I don't want her to die by a shark bite, so we're gonna just put this out there right at the right time. Yeah.
Oh, hey, is that the Brit that you had me talk to that one time?
Yeah, have you guys not connected to stream?
No,
yet?
we connected, but then like the whole subject of what we were going to stream about kind of got put on the back burner because of events. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, shark bites and such.
Exactly, shark bites.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, so now that we're we're past my little personal anecdote here, I'm looking at this and I'm saying shall be entitled to reasonable attorney's fees and costs for successfully defending themselves in litigation. And I know that you haven't looked at this chart yet, or I don't know if you ever will. If you want to save yourself from like partial insanity, then maybe don't. But let me pull it up really quick. They have. Actually, I won't even pull it up right yet. I will pull it up later, but I will tell you right now, they have items on this list where they are billing for the spoliation sanctions motion related to Lively's litigation, the Rule 11 sanctions motions, which would encompass fees that were charged to Reynolds. And what's actually really insane about that is that I believe the judge declined to sanction Wayfair at all, not even give them a reprimand related to Ryan Reynolds in the defamation claim. So there's a lot of stuff in here that's just nutty. And I'm like, this has nothing to do with defending themselves in the litigation. The litigation, of course, being the defamation claim, but overall, even, it has nothing to do with defense.
Well, here was the other thing. The other thing was they had this throwaway line. And this, I apologize for my dogs. They
Which
had this
one? You think 40,000 dogs in your house? Like, it's crazy.
That, hey, you should just defer to the winners of the litigation for whether or not fees are reasonable. It's like, what a bunch of little cunts. For them to put it that way. They literally said a reasonable rate. No, that's not the one. It was the sentence where, in the Wayfarer action, Lively succeeded in every conceivable measure. All of the Wayfarer parties' claims, which were brought as a strategy to sue her into oblivion, were dismissed with prejudice and abandoned without amendment or appeal. That's not even a sentence, but that was just another one of these obnoxious sentences that they had. It was the one they said that, look, you are to defer to the winners of the litigation for whether or not the fees are reasonable or not, and defer to our judgment as to how we build our client and what was necessary to secure victory. It's like, you didn't win anything. You won nothing. You won by default.
Can you explain this Lodestar method thing you highlighted there for people who don't understand that?
Yeah. It's actually explained right here. So in California, courts apply the Lodestar method. It's just this way that we objectively calculate what's reasonable or how many hours we could reasonably expect to be billed in a particular case, how much work is expected to be done, what's the standard hourly rate in the circumstances, whatever. They say a statutory attorney's fee award unless the statutory authorization for the award provide for another method of calculation. It's all like supposed to be this way of figuring out what is a reasonable attorney fee. Because look, litigating a family law DVRO is not the same as litigating a celebrity case of the century, Lively v. Baldoni, in the context in which it was litigated. They're just different.
Sure.
So different standards will apply. And so the Lodestar calculation is just a method, and there are others, but we begin with the Lodestar. It's calculated by determining the number of hours reasonably expended, just like I just said, by the reasonable hourly rate, which may then be adjusted based on the consideration. So it's just a starting point. What we consider is reasonable. I have not seen what their Lodestar figure is. I think you have that, but it's presumptively reasonable unless there's reasons to adjust it upwards or downwards, and that's where the rest of this fight is going to come, adjusting up or down from this $8 million figure. A reasonable rate is what a paying client would be willing to pay for counsel to litigate the case effectively. Blake Lively would pay $8 million, where I might pay, I don't know, like 10,000 or something, 10 or 20,000.
I can offer my attorney exposure. Let's put it that way.
I have 30,000 followers on YouTube.
You get an influencer salary.
I will bring you on as a guest on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, right. But I wouldn't pay you for it because I'm gonna have to sue Afro Man now, unfortunately.
Has
No,
it come?
dude, that dude, like after I talked to him on the phone last week, I tried to make it as easy as possible. I followed up the next day. I sent him an invoice. All he had to do was click on the link and hit send money. And he still hasn't done it. And he read the message because these dudes who keep blowing me off always leave their read receipts on. I don't think they know that, but they do. And so now I'm going to have to deal with that. But that's a whole other story.
I can't pay Lauren's fees because it got high.
Yeah, but like
do an interview with Lauren, but then it got high. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. All right, enough of that. Don't give me your look. I could feel your look.
Now you can't feel anything I left you. All right. So Sarah points out here, Lyman already said she can't get fees for the Rule 11. So when they did the Rule 11 sanctions motions, he ruled on their request there, and he said, no, I'm not going to award any monetary fees or reimbursement for the cost of bringing this motion. And yet now they're saying he should reimburse them for that. That seems kind of weird to me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It just seems like, and evidenced by what you just said, they're trying to attach litigation aspects that had nothing to do with their defense of defamation. And so if I'm arguing, here's what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to make an argument such as what I've been making earlier, that 47.1 is only for, Lauren, people die of exposure.
Not that kind of exposure, bud. But thank you for thinking of everyone, I guess.
47.1 only prescribes recovery of fees in defense of a defamation claim. That's it. It doesn't attach to any other aspect of the litigation, and for them to try to do that is an egregious overstatement. And we're going to have some kind of a decision on that. It's literally the definition of what that sentence means. Because I read the sentence myself. It says, number one, defending in the litigation. Defending is limiting and the is limiting. Defending in the litigation to me means defending the defamation aspect of the case. And that
the whole language of that statute, the specific statute that they're using, is relevant to defamation litigation. So like this is just like, even as a layperson, this is stupid.
Well, I can't even say this it was poorly written, because you can never conceivably think of every possible scenario when you write a statute like that, but that's what the case law is for. So necessarily this is going to have to be interpreted by state courts, possibly federal courts, and we're going to have to get some direction about what that recovery actually means. My plain language reading of it is defense of the defamation. Every attorney that I've seen speak on this case is always interpreted to mean defense of the defamation. I've not seen somebody try to extend it to the all-encompassing defamation. That's ridiculous.
Okay.
You fuck around with me, it's gonna be consequences and repercussions.
You heard that?
Oh, yes. Okay. Ricardo Holt, thank you for the $2. Hi, Lauren. Hi, Lovely's BL. Still smoking Brillo soap. What's Brillo soap?
That's like that. Isn't that like the magic eraser stuff?
That tracks, I guess.
A
magic eraser would do her reputation some good. So, yeah, I guess.
I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
Thank you, Ricardo. You would think Lyman would be mad there, making his court look foolish. I don't know, dude. I know that a lot of people don't like Judge Lyman, and just to point this out once more, and I know I get a lot of not friendly reactions to this. I actually like the guy. I think that he did a really good job, especially when I witnessed his work in the summary judgment hearings and all that. I've been in his courtroom a couple times related to this case, and I thought he conducted himself in his courtroom very well. I was impressed. I thought I left that hearing based on the arguments the attorneys made ahead of this, thinking that she would get attorney's fees, but that he would not allow her to circumvent their constitutional rights by awarding these huge punitive damages and shit. And that's exactly what happened. And I think I want to see it was Clark that I talked to right outside afterwards that said kind of the same thing. He might award her attorney's fees, but he's not going to give her these ridiculous damages she's asking for. I do not think that he's going to award her $8 million. I know that a lot of people are not a fan of Judge Lyman. I've seen a lot of the comments I see about Judge Lyman are not. I'll be honest, like I don't want to insult anyone, so please don't take it that way. But I feel like they are going based off of a preconceived opinion of him and how they believe that he's going to react based on him awarding Blake Lively things in the past, and they're not really critically thinking about how he has reacted to a lot of the things that have come up in these hearings closer to the present. I think that unfortunately, he did get a bit of a bad rap based on his ruling on this dismissal of the Wayfarer case. And there were things that I believe you and Rachel even disagreed with in his ruling, and I disagreed with those as well. But I do think that based on his rulings in Blake Lively's case and on the summary judgment motions raised by Wayfarer, I think that I don't see any extreme subjective bias from this man in this case. And it's not a popular opinion, but that's how I feel about it. And I don't think he's going to give her that much money. So, well,
I'd hate to break it to you, but I am offended, and I'm going to leave. So.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, it is late, and I am tired. So,
no. First of all, I did have an agreement, obviously, with the 12B6. Rachel disagreed with the 12B6. We didn't like the way that he handled it and treated it like it was an MSJ. That was the reason why we disagreed. But I had been saying throughout the litigation, like all of these ancillary rulings on these bullshit motions that they're filing, they don't matter. I never bought in this idea that Judge Lyman was on the take or whatever, or he somehow has this big conspiracy. And I thought that just listening to that one live streamed hearing and just hearing his reasoning and the questions and just the way that he conducted himself, which I didn't get to hear. You were there for the MSJ stuff. He just seems like a sharp, really smart judge that asked the right questions, all the same questions that all of us were contemplating, and he dealt with them in a way that was least destructive. And the way he's handling this 40.1 stuff so far is by doing the least amount of harm and making the least amount of decisions while still upholding the things that he's supposed to uphold. And I got to commend him for that. I've seen nothing wrong so far with what he's done with respect to this 47.1 stuff.
I think when I look at the court here and in the Laura Owens case, the criminal case, I think about the way the judges are ruling and the way that it's the way the state's going about things, and people are like, we want more punitive or like more, like aggressive punishment for the people that we don't like here, the Livelies or the Owens. But the thing is, like, the judges are supposed to consider what comes forward in court. And I think especially in this case with Lively and Baldoni, so much of it happened in the press, so much of it happened on Reddit, so much of it happened online, that it's like there's a lot the judge cannot consider. That's not how that really works. And I don't want social media opinions and social media investigations to breach into our courts, our judges and juries. So I kind of understand also a lot of the time where, like, if you considered everything that's been said and done in the press, etc., then, like, yeah, you might have a different opinion, but the judge has to rule based on what he's seeing in the courtroom. And I kind of want it to stay that way. That's how it's supposed to be. So
I totally zoned out for like the last 30 seconds of what you were saying.
No. It's all good. I frequently zone out when you're talking as well. So it's fine.
I just want to say I'm so proud, because there was a time where I remember when I was first live streaming with you and you weren't so verbose, and I would have to I wouldn't have to do anything, but I would talk, and I would over talk the show. And now it's like the complete opposite. Like, you're over talking me, and I love it. I can just sit here, have my drink, and just listen to you spound on and about I'm proud of you is all I'm trying to say. And
I mean, thank you. I have no idea what you just said, but thank you.
Fair enough.
I'm kidding.
All that jelly and no toast.
That's what I said.
Yeah. Question: does the insurance have to pay whatever Lyman agrees to, or can they deny the amount? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah. My understanding of it is that the insurance is going to pay for all of it. I don't know this, but I don't want to talk out of my ass. I don't know the answer to that question, but my understanding is there's going to be a specific fight in court, and it's going to be a lot of the insurance company attorneys going to get in there and try to get in there and reduce the rate. Who's going to pay what? There's that whole fight. They're going to try to not pay what they don't have to pay for, so there's no guarantee of who's going to pay what yet. that is a fight that is yet to be had, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I think Ezra thinks we can't see her, but we do. Oh, well, I try not to, if that maintains difference. I try not to see any of these people doing anything anymore. I just want this to be over. But, do you still think they're going to have a hearing on this?
Yes.
Fucking hell. Like, I please don't do that.
I wouldn't.
I know that it might be necessary, but please don't. Like, just don't.
I think they have to have a hearing. No, man. If I'm the judge, I want to hear oral arguments on that, just because of the scope of how they're trying to expand the language of 47.1. I'm not ruling on that on the papers. This is not a routine papering that I just get to paper stamp or rubber stamp. No, man. I need to hear all the arguments because I need to protect the record. And if you're going to try to argue for this all-encompassing thing that is going to be highly controversial, then you better get in this courtroom and we better do a hearing.
What do you think they're going to talk about that they can't talk about in the papers?
Well, it's not the purpose of having a hearing is not to rehash the papers. It's to ask the questions based on the papers. Sure. And so, like, you walk in there, and the first thing, like, I just argued a motion. The judge does not want you to rehash the paper that they just read. Mm-hmm. They want you to expound on specific questions that they have. So he's going to have questions, and I'd imagine it's going to go towards the statutory interpretation of 47.1, specifically that one sentence that I highlighted, where they're trying to expand that to all-encompassing litigation versus defense of the defamation. And he's going to hear from both sides and then make a decision, probably take it in chambers.
Yeah. I wish that could be an email.
I mean, the decision probably will be an email, but he's going to take it under advisement and probably just get as much on the record as he can.
Yeah. So I was just back to New York, Lauren. Unseen stranger. Yeah. So I will go back. Obviously, if there's a public hearing, I'll go back because people were nice enough to, when we thought the trial was going to happen, I was going to be in New York for 6 weeks, donate money to help me go out there and to cover this case. So, like, I promised that money would be set aside for that. And if the case settled, I would save it for the Jones case. So, like, if they have further hearings in this case, I will, of course, use that money to go out there and attend that. I think some people saw that I went out to Australia right like after that, and they were like, "Oh my God, why did you need money to go to New York if you could go to Australia?" I'm like, first of all, I was going to be in New York for 6 weeks. Second, I was in Sydney for 1 week, and third, the currency. Even when you go to Australia, everything is cheaper because your dollar is worth a lot more in Australia than it is in the U.S. actually. So, and I've gone to Australia every single year for the last several years. And the only reason I wasn't going is because I was going to have to use my leftover money this summer to stay in New York. Cause I wasn't trying to fundraise the whole $20,000. It was probably going to cost me to stay out there for 6 weeks. I asked for like 8, I think. So like I was having to save money for that. And then I saw a couple of people concerned. They were like, "Lauren, you went to Australia. You spent your money to go sightseeing or whatever." I was like, "No, I will still go to these hearings. I'm saving it like I promised for this Jones case that they have another hearing coming out in August." I was like, I can't like explain myself to death every time somebody has a concern like that. But yes, if there's another hearing, I will go because you guys did ask me to go cover this case. If it's still happening in any capacity, I will go do that and follow through. So
I'll tell you what, that's the retirement plan. Me and the wife, when we retire, we're going to fuck off to Thailand and live. We're going to live abroad. Thailand, the Philippines, Vietnam, all of those places, all of the places. Maybe Australia be on the list. Who knows? Who knows?
You should. You should. It's my favorite place. Obviously, I keep going back. So
I'll try some kangaroo meat.
Dude, that's the one thing I won't do. I've been out there and I went to like one of those steakhouses and I saw kangaroo on the menu. I was like, absolutely the fuck not.
No, I could never, man. Hey, come on, man. It just feels like an animal you should have as a pet, not as a food. Not as a food.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Said Wilbur from Charlotte's Web.
So let me pull up here some of this kind of flowery language that was annoying me that we'll talk about because I have some questions.
Oh, do you want to put you got your thing highlighted. Let's talk about your highlighted statements. How about that?
Oh, I don't have highlighted statements. The whole thing is just a highlight for me because the whole thing is annoying. But Oh my goodness. I need to learn how to do this soundboard thing. But so basically in this introduction section here, they're like basically just rehashing their complaints, their issues with Wayfair, things that were never proven because she dropped her case right before it went to trial, things that the court, the judge himself has said, that's not what I ruled when Michael Gottlieb brought it up in court. They're basically saying there was proof that this was retaliatory, blah, blah, blah. And the judge himself has said, like, I don't think there's necessarily proof that it was retaliatory. I think that could have just been bad legal advice, etc. And so they're still trying to, for, in my opinion, PR purposes, lay this out as if it is definitely fact, because then if the judge... And the judge will award them some fees because he already ruled that they're entitled to some. So the judge will award them some fees. And when that happens, they can go back and say, well, the judge saw what we outlined here and he agreed with it. And Mike Gottlieb has more than once in front of this judge related to this case been told, that's not what I ruled. That's not what I said. And it was kind of funny to watch. But the public isn't going to see that because it wasn't like a live streamed hearing. You had to go sit in the courtroom to see that. So people are only going to see the People magazine headlines. They're going to see how that turns out. And they're going to think the judge agreed with everything they wrote here. And it's bizarre. So they wrote here that the Wayfair parties engaged in like scorched earth litigation, a sham lawsuit, all kinds of things that they did throughout this litigation. And it's interesting because they're so good at creative writing and that they come up with the most bizarre storylines ever, but they're so bad at it in that they have to copy Brian Friedman on everything they do. The sham lawsuits, the scorched earth litigation, all things that Justin Baldoni's attorneys have put out there in defense of him in the press. They just repeat it, parrot it for these stupid filings and their stupid statements for SEO manipulation, just so if somebody looks up Blake Lively sham lawsuit, they're going to see Blake Lively's attorneys talking about Wayfair's sham lawsuit rather than the actual sham lawsuit that Blake Lively filed, which is really bizarre and annoying to me. So
my comparison of reading these first couple of paragraphs, this introduction, was the equivalent of listening to a interview by Jada Pinkett Smith. Her droning on about how
I know how much you love Jada Pinkett Smith.
Oh, I can't. She's the worst. I could not, man, for 5 minutes sit in the same room, have a conversation. You know what? If I had to talk to her, I think I'd just be out. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna leave you to it. Yeah. How about that? Good luck with everything. Love you. Bye. I could not, man. She's so much, and it's just the same tenor. Whoever wrote it. It's just that saying sanctimonious. I want to be so profound.
I'll give you. I'll tell you this. It was the same person who wrote my subpoena.
Oh no shit.
Yeah. So very good creative writing, I guess.
Was it Ezra?
It was very good creative writing in that she put it together well, but very bad creative writing in that it's a little derivative. Ezra, I'm getting a little tired.
What is she like in real life, Ezra? I got a feeling like she's probably.
I hope I never find out.
I feel like she's kind of mean. But like she like tries to be funny, and then like people don't laugh at her jokes. She gets really pissed off and sulks.
Look, dude, I don't know. I have no idea what this lady's like as a person. I know what she's like as a professional, and I have a lot of resentment towards the way that she handled these things. I will say that the way that the internet goes, I've seen some people kind of delve into her personal life, and I've even seen people say they used to work with her, blah, 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 she was not the best. I haven't seen anyone say anything like crazy inflammatory, but I've seen people kind of dig into her personal life a little bit, and that's where I kind of draw a line. I'm like, you know what? I don't like what she did. I don't want to know what she's like in real life. I don't need to know. I don't want to be involved with these people. They were the ones who tried to drag me in. I wanted out. I got out. That's all I need to know. I don't need to know about her divorce or whatever people are talking about. Like, everybody has a right to kind of look into these things, especially with public figures, if they want to. However, my line is I don't want to. So I don't know what she's like in person. I don't know what she's like in her personal life, and I never want to find out. So that's
make me feel like the fucking asshole.
Well,
it was like, hey, what is she like in real? I didn't mean to actually dive into it as a whole. Never mind.
But I just want you to feel how you look on the outside. So
well,
don't concentrate on the finger, or you will miss all that heavenly glory.
Mr. Brought to you by the Church of
I don't even know what the fuck that was. So, yo, hey, have you heard from Stuart or Keith?
No, how they doing? Have you?
I don't know. Somebody just asked about Ask Two Lawyers. I was like, oh yeah, how they doing?
Oh, it'd be cool if they could like weigh in. I haven't heard from them since
I don't know, dude.
the thing.
I know
And,
they felt very strongly about this motion, so or not this motion, this law, particularly how it
They
applies.
did. They were. It turns out that they were. Well, I don't remember what they said, but it wasn't as bad as they thought, and it wasn't as dismissive as I thought. It was somewhere in the middle. I think is where we landed on that.
Okay.
But I miss those guys. I wish they would weigh in and say hello or whatever.
Yeah, dude. Maybe I should send them a message or something. I don't know if they're still on social media at all. Are they?
I don't know.
Didn't Ezra lie about the creator's subpoenas? She instructed the staff to lie. You're correct. And anything that Ezra did throughout the course of this litigation, to me, that is totally within bounds of me to criticize. So I will tell you right now, that was fucking bullshit. The way that she acted in her capacity as an attorney who signed off on those subpoenas was disgusting. I don't support that at all. But however, I just don't want to, for my mental health as well, I think that I just don't want to cross a line to where I'm thinking about what these people are doing in their day-to-day lives. I'm like, I just want to move on. You know what I mean? So, but that was a fucking problem. So, yeah. AJ, aka Breen, thank you for the $10. Sending you all love. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Breen.
Yeah. Ezra lied about the creators' names were on the tag list. Oh, trust me, I haven't forgotten. It's been the subject of many months of therapy.
I'm assuming that Andy's stuff is wrapped up, or is he still dealing with it with the other stuff?
The judge finally nipped that in the bud.
Good.
Blake's attorneys tried to continue dragging it out.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was great.
No, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Seeing this motion, has it changed your opinion or strengthened your opinion about the settlement that was entered into? It just seems shitty to let them like carry on this ruckus.
Yeah.
When all of the other stuff is I don't know, man. That would have been a deal breaker for me. But at the same time, I understand. I don't know. What do you think? Seeing all of this and how it's playing out.
Well, let me put it this way. As this is still playing out, I want to be careful with my words. I will say, given all of the information that I have right now, I 100% still support the settlement. And I think that they did the right thing for them. I think that it's frustrating to people who are watching from the outside. I think it's been frustrating to me as well. I think we all kind of at some point wanted to see this woman who exploited an issue so close to us and did like a horrible, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, injustice. We wanted to see her face the music for that, so to speak, in a court of law. And so that's tough, right? But for these people, for what they've been through, for all the things that people don't see and don't know behind the scenes, I 100% support their decision. I think they did the right thing for them to move on with their lives. You got to remember also, these people have elementary aged children. They're being stalked in airports and crap like that. Like, they just want this to be over. Like at some point it's like, yeah, you might have to pay Blake Lively. Like, I don't know what the judge is going to give them, right? I don't think he's going to give them $8 million, but we or our insurance would have to, from their perspective, we or our insurance would have to give her, maybe like $1 million or something. Is it the end of the world compared to going to a trial and having these families dragged through the mud and picked apart in every which way, even inappropriate ways that have nothing to do with the litigation? Totally not worth it. And she walked away with nothing. So I think that was a pretty clear moral victory. I think it was a pretty clear sign that, she was in the wrong there. Whether or not people choose to believe that is one thing or another, but I think they did a good job defending themselves in the press. I think that they have done the best thing they can do for themselves and their families moving forward. And I would not ever criticize them for making the decision that they did.
Well, one of the things that I said at the very beginning of my stream was like, I know what it's like to be in exhausting litigation. Like, you get to the point where it's like you go in there with like a game plan. It's like, we're not walking out with anything less than this. Mm-hmm. And then you get closer and closer and you start wondering, like, yeah, we can continue to fight for that, or it could just be over. And then she could do this 47.1 thing and it's not going to go anywhere or whatever. We've got insurance companies in place. We can move on with life. I get all that, man. And when your clients start saying stuff like that, and then it's not that you let your guard down. It's just your clients are the boss. If they want it to be done, then it's going to be done. Yeah. Sometimes they, refuse to settle for various reasons, but this litigation has been exhausting and there's very little to gain for the Wayfarer parties. And so my prediction was a complete 100% walkway on both sides, but it seems like they acquiesced to this. Fine, pursue 47.1 if you think that's going to work, but we're dropping everything else. I could get where they made that decision. So I would never, just like you, I would never criticize them for settling this case. I don't know
their case was dismissed. They chose not to amend. Yes, they could have appealed. Whether or not they would have actually done that is kind of you have to just kind of take your best guess as to whether or not you think they would have done that. They kind of want to move on with their lives, in my opinion. But, had they gone to trial, this 47.1 motion, even if they won the trial, this 47.1 motion would still be an issue because, she had made a complaint of behavior that concerned her in the workplace. And even if she's lying, even if she's not telling the truth, that is a protected activity. Making a complaint is a protected activity. And unfortunately, people like Blake Lively, in my opinion, will exploit that. But with that protected activity, she gets to bring this motion and say, you retaliated against me for that. And that's something that may not have even been, addressed in the trial or solved by the trial. They may have still had to deal with that after the trial, even if they had won the trial, they successfully defended themselves. And so I think that by removing the whole, life-changing traumatic experience of going to a trial where the entire world is watching you and your family and everybody else who's testifying, and, kind of just getting bits and pieces from the media because it's not even live streamed and you're just going through all this kind of crap, you can throw that out the window and you're still dealing with the same thing with the 47.1 motion that you would have been dealing with had you even gone to trial. So it's kind of like, I agree with the settlement because it's like you can walk away from a lot of this stuff. She gets nothing. And then all you have to do is deal with this one motion that you were going to have to deal with anyways. So,
well, from that perspective, that makes a lot of sense.
Well, no, that's kind of what, when I talked to Kevin,
I figured he probably got that from Kevin. I don't want to say anything, but since you said it, it's like you must have got them from that perspective.
Well, he said that in some not so many words. Like he said that in a more concise way that probably didn't sound as dramatic as what I just said. But like he basically said,
I get the gist.
We didn't have to do anything that we weren't going to have to do anyways, and we got to move on with our clients. Got to move on with their lives in a way that they really wanted to, and they were given no extra burden in that regard. So
what I'm getting from that is, look, even if we go and win everything at trial, 47.1 is still going to be an issue. So fine, dismiss everything and let them try for 47.1 with a settled case. And perhaps that strengthens their position on 47.1. Maybe it doesn't move the needle one way or the other, but everybody gets what they want, and they're not doing anything they wouldn't have had to do anyway. That makes sense. Yep. I could buy that as a settlement posture.
She knew that, in my opinion, she knew that going to trial was going to look very bad for her. And what she really wanted was what she went to the New York Times for in the first place, which was the yuppie brass ring of putting her face and name on this law for victims in order to, in my opinion, gain social status, notoriety, adoration. And it with this settlement, especially since Brian Friedman released the settlement document, the whole thing, you can see the whole thing. People know that she settled for nothing, that she knew that if she went to trial, it was not going to go well for her. And so it's kind of like she thinks that she can still cling to this 47.1 motion as if it makes her some sort of special victim advocate, even though she hasn't done shit. But people know, if you really read the documents, if you really pay attention to what's happening, that she settled for nothing. She didn't actually care about standing up for women and girls and children's safety, as she, opined on her Instagram. All she really wanted was to escape from this unscathed after all was said and done, and then not have to, face the consequences of the things that she said that were not true.
Well, check this out. Here's my take. Because this hasn't gone to trial, what she has gained is she's never going to reach the same level of infamy that Amber Heard was subjected to back in what, 22, 23?
Yeah.
Had she gone to trial, then
I didn't really watch
have
that, so.
been parallel. What happened?
I didn't really watch that, the Johnny Depp trial, and I've heard all that everybody has to say about it, but I've never watched it myself. But I do know, just based on what I see on the internet, how much of a reputation Amber Heard has. So yeah, I think I know what you're saying.
That's kind of my point, that you've not watched the trial, but you know all the shitty things people said about her because there was a trial. Because there's not going to be a trial, she'll never get that same little level of infamy, and she's spared of that. Had she gone to trial, and all of these content creators are talking shit every single day about the ridiculousness of her claims and all of these lies, or this doesn't make sense, or she's obviously lying, or she's a bully and all of that. I mean, it was pretty bad leading up to it, but had it gone to trial, Amber Heard is here. She was getting there, but now it stops. Yeah. And that's what she gains by not going to trial. And so good for her. But, you know, now the only people that are pissed at her are people that still give a shit about this $8 million bill that she's trying to pass off. And her exposure is limited.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm pissed and about what she's done throughout the course of this litigation, which is, I believe, co-opted issues that affect women in the workplace every day in order to gain revenge for her being slightly annoyed on set by having to work for somebody she felt was beneath her. I'm angry about that, but I'm not like angry. It's like it's something in the back of my mind where I'm like, oh, this isn't over yet, and like that really makes me feel negative towards her. But like, I'm not like pissed off, you know what I mean? But it's, I don't know. But she's, you know, she's got a lot of people out there who are still kind of clocking her shit as far as like what she's doing when she says she's advocating for women, advocating for children's safety, as if children have anything to do with it. Like, I don't know. I don't think that her criticism is going to go away anytime soon. We'll put it that way.
I mean, well, she'll always have her supporters. You can't do anything about people that believe what they want to believe.
Oh, well, sure. She's got some diehard fans, put it that way. And I didn't know too much about her personally before all this started, but I went into looking at this as a, you know, fan of hers, I guess. Not like a super fan or anything, but as like a casual fan of her work, and I liked her and her husband, and I liked her husband's work, and so like there was no reason to not like her. And then it wasn't her interviews or anything that was going viral that actually made me not like her. It was the fact that she went out there and said and did things that were dishonest and tried to exploit the feelings of women who have been through awful things like that in order to prop herself up.
Hey, that was kind of the thing that, look, this is never a case that would ever like move the needle for me one way or the other. I could so give a shit. But when she starts trying to advocate for victims, when she herself is a fake victim, in my opinion, that's what raised the ire for me. As you were saying that, I just remember that I told my wife I'm going to watch House of Dragons with her. I really don't want to.
House of Dragons. What is it, a Game of Thrones thing?
I don't fucking know. It's something about dragons. It's about Game of Thrones, I think.
I never watched. I watched like a little bit of Game of Thrones the first season. And I was just like, this sucks. I know a lot of people like Game of Thrones. I'm just like, nah, this shit sucks. Sorry, guys.
I was never into the Game of Thrones. The only reason I watched it was because of her. And now I have to watch House of Dragon. But it's only fair because I made her watch some stupid show yesterday. Pacific.
You better sit there and watch House of Dragons. This is for you, dude.
Oh, Aquanet, how you doing, young lady with a $20 super sticker? I appreciate you. Hey, you know, I was mad at you the other day because you disagreed with me about the Carmelo Anthony thing. And I didn't see you until the end. It's like, oh no, me and Omar disagree about this particular case. It's like, well, fuck you then.
No, that's a tough one, dude, because I got a lot of angry comments on that one to the point I had to ask some moderators. I was like, if you see anything like wild or racist or insane on either side of the ball, please like hold these in moderation queue. But then also YouTube, I don't know if you know this, but like YouTube also just like auto pulls comments sometimes to put them in the mod queue. And so I had this person like get mad at me because their comment was deleted. I was like, it wasn't even deleted. It was just like sitting in the mod queue for me to reapprove. And then they went and tracked me down on Twitter and started ranting at me in like a 7-part tweet. And I was just like, yo, like, I'm not comfortable with this. I had that one, recently I had that lady track down my cell phone and call me on it. And I was just kind of like, that freaked me out. So if somebody tracks me down on social media because their comment's been removed and they're ranting and raving at me, I'm going to feel freaked out and I'm probably going to block you. And then I saw they had commented on like your video or something and said something along the lines of Lauren did this, Lauren did that. I was like, you're not even listening. Like the problem is that you are like,
see that comment.
No. I was like, the problem is that you're ranting and raving at me over something I had no control over. I don't know, but like that case has brought out some of the worst in humanity I have ever seen from white people who have now used this as an excuse to openly wave around the most disgusting slurs I have ever heard towards Black people, from members of the Black community who have taken it upon themselves to say, like, we hope Austin gets dug up and stabbed again and all kinds of crazy shit like that. I don't know if you saw videos of people standing outside the courthouse shouting at the family and the other students saying, we're glad Austin's dead. We hope you die too, to his twin brother. Like, some of the craziest, most disgusting, animosity I've ever seen. And it's coming from both sides of the aisle there. And I was like, man, the thing is that was bothering me and that compelled me to talk about that case is that what happened in the courtroom has nothing to do with all these crazy ass people outside.
Yeah, it really does.
It has nothing to do with the awful people on the internet throwing the N-word around and comparing Black people to monkeys. It has nothing to do with the members of the Black community who sat outside the courthouse and screamed at Austin's brother. Those are mentally ill people. These are not like anyone who was involved in the court case, and just like some of the craziest things I've ever seen on the internet. And I thought this thing with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni was crazy, but no, that just took things to another level to me. And I'm just like, for a minute there, I had to take a beat and I had to say, I'm not sure if I want to be somebody who talks about things on the internet, because I've seen the things that the internet is doing to people, and it's disgusting and it's terrifying.
I'll tell you what. Because I did that. I've done 2 videos on Carmel Anthony. The first one I had to make members only because it didn't even get that bad, but I saw just going in that direction. I just was not ready to deal with it. But I did a follow-up because it's like, fuck that. We're going to talk about this. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, why am people are accusing me of race baiting because I brought up that the last 3 Black jurors that were Black were dismissed, and the optics
for being educators or whatever.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what. I was so proud of the comments in my second video. There's something like 500 plus comments, but like 95% of them, 98% of them maybe, were good and educated, solid takes, and most of them appreciated just sticking to the facts. And most of the people, at least on my channel, were willing to dismiss, the racial undertone arguments and just be able to show empathy for the victim, be able to show empathy for a stupid kid that did something really stupid and now his life is ruined, and look at it for what it was. It's 2 stupid kids that it should have ended in them getting in a fight. It didn't end up that way, and ended up much more tragically, and it sucks on all parts. And then we just had a really solid legal discussion on the difference of manslaughter and murder as it pertains to Texas. And we just focused on that. And I thought that where we landed to where that started and where I heard it went with you and your group, the people that are coming after you, I'm so proud of my community, not even my community, because there's a lot of new people that came in because of that case. Just the conversation. I wish that it would just be more like that. Just educated and solid and genuine and empathetic and elevated, not in like this weird way. Just there's YouTuber. It was another area of YouTube where this guy is spouting off like this racial nonsense, and all of his commenters underneath, like I started reading some of the comments, and it was just disgusting and scary. And it's like, oh, this is where this is coming from.
Yeah, it's really bad. And I think I messaged you when we were talking about maybe doing stream on that case. I messaged you about this guy named Chud the Builder, which is another really insane one that's going on right now. He's charged with attempted murder for shooting someone, claiming it was self-defense. But he's a nuisance streamer, which I don't know if you know what that means, but he's a nuisance streamer. He goes around
professional troll.
He goes around in real life, tracking people down, saying the N-word in front of Black people and basically saying, like, don't you believe in freedom of speech? And just like waiting for them to attack him so he can shoot them or something. It's insane.
Well, I'm just looking at some of his YouTube stuff. Yeah. There's going to be,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know what to look. YouTube and social media has created that segment of society where it's a thing to troll people for content. And as long as that kind of stuff is able to get monetized, intentional hate speech for the purpose of creating content, until YouTube takes a stand against that kind of platform or deplatforms that kind of content, then it's always going to be a thing. Always. And
YouTube has, and Twitch has, I believe, but there are these other platforms that these guys go to, and it's where like toxic people are drawn to, where they, one of them's like Kick or something, where like guys who say crazy ass shit you should never ever say go, and edgy teenagers and people want to watch them and be like, yeah, totally, we can say things we're not supposed to say, and they support that, and they rake in like millions of dollars. And what's so ridiculous to me is like the people who criticize me and other content creators who make this kind of content about Blake Lively criticizing her actions and what she's done in this lawsuit are like, you guys are disgusting, like nasty, just you're just paid to say this stuff on YouTube. I'm like, no, join the real world for a second. Understand that people do feel differently than you, and then look at what's actually happening over here that's toxic waste, and worry about that. So I don't know. It's just kind of insane.
Well, I'm proud of you for standing your ground, because for whatever reason, like you tell me about all these crazy commenters that you have, and I'm like, well, I don't have any crazy commenters like that. And then I do one Carmelo Anthony video and I start to see some. It's like, I can't take this shit. Members only. And it's like, I can't go out like that, man.
Well, so mine are like, they're not, you can see if you click on somebody that their comment history on your channel. And so most of them are people who have never commented before. I'm like, so you didn't actually listen to anything that I'm saying. You've never listened to anything that I've said before. You're not going to listen to what I have to say now if I respond to you. And so I'll just mute them. I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. I think that you're just here to be a troll. I'm not going to deal with that. If you want to be a troll, everybody has a right to freedom of speech. It's not censorship. If I tell you you can't be a troll to me, I don't want to interact with you, go do it on your Twitter account, okay? Not on my space, right? You can go do it wherever you want else, like talk however you want to talk. I don't have to allow you to interact with me that way if you're going to scream about black people being monkeys or white people being the devil. Like, I don't have to interact with that. That's not something that I should ever have to put up with, and it's not something that you should force on anybody. If you want to talk like that, you talk like that in your own space. Not my problem. So,
hey, by the way, there's a comment that says you all can't say grape or sh or self-harm code words, and they need to stop that. You can actually. You could say that after the first 10 minutes of a live stream.
I just talk how I want to talk, and if YouTube decides to demonetize my videos, I would rather speak as a human being. You know what I mean? Like, just say what I want to say and talk about the things that I'm talking about with the severity of the actual words that are assigned to those things, than worry about ad revenue. That's how it is for me, and it's been going okay so far. I had a little bit of problems in the first year or so of my channel where it was like a little more scrutiny based on your being a new partner of YouTube. But, I just kind of say what I need to say now. So.
Yeah, I don't have those. You know what? I've never gotten demonetized for that reason, but I have gotten demonetized for playing 30 seconds of a Nicholas Brothers clip from 1943. So
what?
Suck on these nuts.
Oh, okay. Let's see here.
Not you.
MDR, thank you for the 5. Speaking of sham, do either of you think what happened to Jen is worse than what happened to Baldoni in some ways? I mean, what happened to Jen was devastating, I'm sure, for her personally, but she's the one who should speak on that, and she's still got an ongoing court case, so I don't think she'll be making any sort of public statements anytime soon. As far as being worse than what happened to Justin, I don't know if they're really comparable. They're both, it's just like two very separate, very different situations that are absolutely potentially life-ruining. I wouldn't compare them that way, I don't think, but I know what you're saying, in that this could have potentially messed up her life more than it did his, because he's already a public figure who has to, kind of anticipate and deal with negative publicity, whereas she's a private person, and that could have it could wreak much more havoc on her life. I totally understand what you're saying. I just think they're equally terrible things. So,
to that point, it's much easier to blackball her from an industry than it would be for somebody like Justin Baldoni, even given the limits.
She was new in her business, right? So she started her own agency, and that was new. And Stephanie Jones and Blake Lively both.
Do you know how she's doing since all of that? Like, are people? Yeah, she doing all right?
I mean, Jen helped do the, I wouldn't say publicity for Kevin. I would say like scheduling for Kevin. Let's put it that way. And I didn't ask her any questions about her case or anything like that because I don't think she's supposed to talk about it. But she seemed okay. I mean, I can only tell you how she seemed when the very brief, minute that I was able to see her, and she seemed like she was okay. And I hope she's okay. But that's all I can really tell you. I don't know what's really going on in her mind or going through her head as far as her ongoing lawsuit. I don't ask intentionally. I would not reach out to her and ask about that stuff because I don't want her to be in a position to where Stephanie Jones could do a Blake Lively and be like, you're talking to this YouTuber about me, and now I'm going to subpoena everyone and say that you're part of a smear campaign. Like that. So like I intentionally don't reach out and ask these kinds of questions.
I understand.
But I hope she's okay. So
yeah, she's probably fine.
Big Z, I think at 5. When they weighed up settlement, they probably considered Justin will make it back and more with book deals, interviews, etc., considering no NDA, etc.
Actually, I think that it makes a lot more sense what Lauren said after her conversation with Kevin, that look, 47.1 was going to be a thing even if they won a trial. So who gives a shit if we settle it?
Mm-hmm.
Let them do their 47.1 thing anyway. We can't avoid it.
Yeah. And I think I saw, it might have been from this same person, I'm not sure, and I accidentally closed it, but it said, would that still be a thing if Blake lost her affirmative claims against the Wayfair parties? My understanding was yes, because the protected activity of it was the reporting the sexual harassment, whether or not it was real. Whereas, like, if that sexual harassment claim had gone to trial and they could show that she was not sexually harassed, that wasn't reasonable. That doesn't mean that reporting it necessarily wasn't a protected activity. So that would still be an issue.
I think the correct posture is that at the time of settlement, it was unknown whether or not a complete whitewash of all of her claims in court, beating her in court, was going to absolve them from 47.1. That was always going to be a legal question, meaning after she loses at trial, she could bring the 47.1 issue. And so they had to answer that legal question. There's no getting around it. So they just said, look, bring it. You bring the 47.1, we'll settle everything else. And so they lost nothing by settling and allowing her to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's my understanding of it based on the hearsay perspective of Kevin Fritz from Lauren Neidigh. Yeah,
Kevin's, I don't know if Kevin's going to be the one to respond to this fee motion or if it'll be someone else, but Kevin's a smart guy. When I interviewed Kevin, I had met him in person, like very briefly at the courthouse or whatever. But of course, you get all these comments on social media. They're like, oh my God, pay to play YouTuber. They're paying them to do this, that. I'm like, dude, I reached out to this guy and I asked him to do me a favor. I was like, I have some questions for you. A lot of people have some unanswered questions about your case. Since it's over now, would you be willing to like have a discussion with me? And he was a really nice guy. And he said, yes, of course, I will do that. And he answered as many questions as he could answer without breaking any sort of privilege or talking about things that were still outstanding, like this 47.1 motion too much. Great guy. And I just hate that, a lot of people are so negative about that, but a lot of people have also been really, really grateful for him and what he was willing to do for us as far as speaking up for the clients.
And I think what sucks too is that there's so much that happens that the public doesn't understand, and they can't speak on it. They just have to let people.
There's so much brain rot on the internet, and that's what I hate is like, I feel like when you have a YouTube channel, eventually you kind of get into this little bubble where you have people who understand you and understand your reasoning, and they are respectful, and they're not like acting all crazy. But then you go into like a Reddit, and they're like posts from like Blake Lively subreddits that are like saying Lauren was paid by XYZ to do this or that. I'm just like, motherfucker, like I would love to be paid to do what I do. I would love to be paid more to do what I do, but I do it because I love it. And if I don't feel passionate about it, if I don't feel like it's something that I really want to do, I don't do it. And as you can see, because I disappear for weeks at a time lately, where I'm just like, this isn't good for my mental health. This isn't something I'm feeling passionate about at the moment. I need to go do my job, be with my family, and that's it. So there's just a lot going on online that I'm just like, this is absolutely fucking brain dead behavior. Especially when people start talking about Justin Baldoni's publicist and their retaliation smear campaign. And I've seen posts about like, they were talking to the Daily Mail, they were talking to the New Yorker or the New York Post or whoever, and I'm like, yeah, every celebrity's publicist ever is talking to those people. Are you stupid? Like, what? There's just so much stupid shit now that things have died down and people don't have as much to kind of like fuel their need for more information, that they'll just like come up with these stupid ass fan fiction stories about YouTubers being secret conspiracy, members of Justin Baldoni's smear campaign, or just dumbass shit like that. And I'm just like, man, I'm so bored of these people. I'm bored of Blake. I'm bored of Blake, and I'm bored of these dumbass people who think that there was a conspiracy smear campaign because publicists talk to the media.
It's all about perspective. I've been listening to this YouTuber, Mayim Bialik. She was Blossom in that TV show. She was on some other TV show.
I know who you're talking about. She was on The Good Place, right?
I never watched it. I knew her as Blossom when I was in high school. But she has a podcast now, and she has like a PhD in neuroscience, and she always has on these.
Yeah, I definitely know who you're talking about. Wasn't she trying to host Jeopardy for a minute?
I don't fucking know. Why do you know so much about her? Jesus. I know her from her YouTube channel.
She's like a smart lady who is like...
She is, but she has all these people that talk about like the afterlife and science and astrophysicists and all of these people that have all of these things. And one of these major things...
I don't know shit about that.
Well, neither do I. But she says, one of her guests comes on and says that based on the amalgamation of near-death experiences that we've been able to scientifically study over the last 180 years, this seems like the central theme is that the Earth is like this school. Call it Earth School. It's one of like an infinite number of different schools, and there's different planes and different spiritual energies or whatever. And some people like to argue that Lauren Neidigh got paid to appear at a New York court hearing in New York or whatever. And some people do other shit. I don't know. So pick your battles, man. Here at Earth School, if that's what you want to make of it.
It's a weird battle to pick, if you ask me. But Big Z says, thank you for the $5 again, Big Z. Can't watch any fantasy after the last season of Game of Thrones, ruined it all. Watch The Boys, it's hilarious, or the World Cup, world's biggest sporting event. So I'm not a huge soccer or football, depending on where you are in the world, a huge fan of that. I watch, football, sometimes basketball. Swimming is the big one for me. The Boys I've heard of. I know Chase Crawford is in that, and I like him as an actor, so I might watch that. I don't know if you've seen it, Omar.
I have not seen The Boys.
Well, I heard it's a good show, and it's over now, so I'll have to watch it because I can binge it all the way through. So
we just watched it wasn't a really good show. It was a really stupid show, but we started watching it, and it was entertaining. It was something about some guy was in jail because he killed his kid, but turns out his kid was still alive, and the whole show was like finding out who really kidnapped his kid, and I don't know, it was really dumb.
Oh, you met my uncle.
Well,
I'm just kidding. Okay. Big Z, thank you for the $10. This case has shown how unjust the system is. An innocent person can be accused, reputation dragged through the mud, sued for millions. Even if they successfully defend, they still have to pay. Crazy. I mean, I agree to the extent that, like, I don't like that they have to pay anything related to this action. It's just like the way that they wrote their complaint. I hate to say it. There were some issues, especially with the group pleading stuff, like writing all the Wayfarer parties in as having a contract issue with Blake Lively when some of them have never met her, never had a contract with her, never had anything to do with her. So I kind of understand why some of this came to attorney's fees, especially with the reprimand and the Rule 11 sanctions motion, but he declined fees on that. But I think that I kind of understand why it happened the way that it did, but I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Is it just? Not necessarily. But is it technically sound? Probably. So
I say that every day.
Yeah, okay, that tracks.
What is truth? Is truth a changing law? We both have truths. Are mine the same as yours? Crucify, hang. Remember Caesar? Never mind. I'm not
right. Anyways, all right. It's 1:00 here, so I gotta sign off pretty quick. But even anything else you want to say on this stuff?
Yes. With that, I think I'm out.
Hey, so you're like a really big Michael Jackson fan, aren't you?
Yeah, I started doing all these Michael Jackson episodes, and it was a lot of fun. I got some more coming. I got this one where I am tracking the conspiracy. I say conspiracy because Dick Gregory, these are the words that came out of his mouth. He said Michael Jackson was not killed by no propofol. Michael Jackson was taken out by a laser. And he was dead. There was no hesitation in his voice. He said a laser. And I connected the dots.
Like a laser tap.
I did a show where there was missing scientists, and these missing scientists were talking about lasers that were taking people out. Dick Gregory, right before he died, said Michael Jackson was taken out by a laser. I don't know if I believe that or not. All I'm saying is that there are financial reasons why people wanted him gone. And I'm going to do a deep dive into it. I don't know if I'm going to get to it this week because I want to make sure I get it all right because it's a... Anyway, I'm going to do another one. But yes,
well, I was actually just going to say you should get in touch with Andy.
Oh, well, yeah. Maybe I should. I saw he was doing a Michael Jackson thing.
Because I haven't seen the documentary or anything, but I know that Andy's very passionate about the subject. So I was like, you and Andy should probably hash it out, talk about it.
Well, you could have just led with that. I know it would have gone on this.
Yeah, I could have, but then you had your whole story about the lasers, and I was like, I probably shouldn't interrupt this. So.
Oh, all right. Well, fair enough.
Big CO Music, thank you for being a member for 14 months. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much for watching. So.
April F says Dick Gregory is probably senile. No shade. No, I don't. Hey, I'm not saying I believe the laser story. I'm just saying he said it with the conviction that made me think. Is all. That is all.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all for me tonight. Thanks, everybody. I'm gonna sign off now, but we'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, Lauren. Well, thanks for having me on. Hey, it's been good streaming with you. I think we've been trying to stream for like, I don't know, felt like a whole week.
Yeah, well, I keep going to bed, you know.
There's the time zone.
Yeah, I keep going to sleep. It's 1 o'clock here, so yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you guys later. Love you, folks. You guys have a wonderful night. I'll probably see you tomorrow.
Yeah, all right. Thanks, man.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.